on, guys? Welcome back to 100% Chelsea and welcome to your preview of Chelsea versus Newcastle. And yes, it's not normally me who does it. It's normally Lawrence. You don't normally have what's going on here. It's a bit of a strange one for you guys, and it's a bit of a strange one for me because I don't normally do these. But I'll be very interested to see what you think about how this went, and if you'd like to see these more on my personal channel, because let's be honest, I've not uploaded there for a few months other than the Christmas video. And yeah, I probably should. But we'll get straight into the preview, and we're going to talk about Chelsea versus Newcastle at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. So, what does it look like? How is it going to be shaping up for us? Well, Newcastle so far in the past 5 games have won 1, drawn 2, and lost 2. So it kind of weighs up in our favour. They lost 2-0 to Manchester United, drew 1-1 with Watford, lost 4-0 to Liverpool, drew 0-0 with Fulham, and won 1-0 against Huddersfield. So they've scored 2 goals in 5 games, which kind of bodes well for our defence. Obviously, you know, it is a bit shaky sometimes. But let's be honest, Newcastle are a bogey team. The last time that we played them in the Premier League obviously meant we got Europa League football instead of that glorious Champions League theme song. Obviously, we would have needed Brighton to absolutely hammer Liverpool, and they didn't. And we lost 3-0 to Newcastle at St James's Park on the final day of the season. But the less said about that, the better. Look, you know, this is a game which we have to win. We looked good against Tottenham a few days ago. I didn't actually do a review because I don't know why I didn't. That's my fault. It's lazy from me. New year, new me, and I've kind of been lazy again. Oh well. It's going to be different. We're going to focus on that. I'm going to do a review. Obviously, we're doing the preview today. I've got to get it all done. But obviously, during that Tottenham game, we did look a lot better than we had done over the previous games. And Maurizio Sarri uttered these words in his press conference. He said it very frankly when he was talking about strikers and the fact that we need one. We'll go into that in a minute, but it's kind of a case of he was saying we've been very good in the final third. In the match, it's going to be difficult. Obviously, Newcastle are going to play with 11 men behind the ball, as a lot of teams have against us this season when they are smaller sides. He said that the match is going to be the same. We have to be patient. We don't have to improve in the offensive phase, but in the box. We need to improve the lateral ball and moving into the last 20-25 metres. And I think this is something which we've all agreed on. I don't know what he means by not improving in the offensive phase, because I think the one big thing we need to do is improve in the offensive phase, whatever that is in his terms. I'm guessing that's the final third of the pitch. But if we're going to talk about it, listen, against Tottenham, we were pretty decent. The only thing we were missing was a centre forward. And obviously, he's going to talk about Higuain. He was talking about Morata as well. And, you know, the big thing he's been saying about Willian and, Higuain, we'll talk about Willian in a bit. The thing he's been saying about Higuain and he has been saying about Alvaro Morata is he said, look, I ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't know what's going on. And obviously this comes down to talking about the club and our lack of a director of football and basically not knowing how the club runs. However, he is abiding to his contract. He did sign as a head coach and he's basically maintaining that role. But for him to be saying, you know, we need to improve in the box is key. We have not been very good in the box over the past few games. But like I've been saying, against Tottenham, we were getting the balls in, we were moving the ball well, we were getting out wide, and we were getting the balls whipped in by Callum Hudson-Odoi, which is something that we have been needing. We have missed out on someone who's just going to get that early crossing and really try and impact the side. And, you know, to be honest, Callum Hudson-Odoi has played 2 games in 3 days before obviously the Tottenham game and the game beforehand. And, you know, it's kind of a case of, is he going to be starting this game? Well, in terms of injury news, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is still out with a back injury. Morata has obviously returned back to training with the team, so is available for selection. And that means that Willian and Pedro are both fit. Now, Willian obviously started against Tottenham Hotspur in the Carabao Cup. Pedro obviously came on after having an injury. He didn't really want to use him. He had a little niggle. But for me, I think this kind of means that it may be unlikely for Callum Hudson-Odoi to play. He said later as well, talking about Christensen and Callum Hudson-Odoi, that both of them are ready for ready-made Premier League football, saying that Christensen was a suitable backup for Rudiger and David Luiz, and also saying that Callum Hudson-Odoi looks ready after playing 2 games in 3 days. It's natural for him to be tired, he was saying, if you do this for the first time in a season. However, he wanted to see after the press conference today how his fitness is. So there's no doubt that he will be involved tomorrow if we really need him. Because let's be honest, right now, in my opinion, and I'm sure in many of you guys' opinion, Callum Hudson-Odoi is the second best winger at Chelsea Football Club. And considering that Bayern Munich have tabled another bid for him of £35 million, to me, that kind of signals exactly that, what we're all feeling. And the fact that Chelsea are considering it is absolutely batshit crazy. Just as batshit crazy as the fact that we haven't even entertained a potential bid for Willian from Barcelona. Obviously, Barcelona gave us a deal they put it on the table. Malcolm and some cash that adds up to £50 million for Willian. So a 21-year-old winger with a lot of potential that, let's be honest, we can get a hell of a lot of £50 million for if we were to sell him in a few years' time, because clearly if you've got potential, it's all well and good having potential, but you need to build it. If he does build it, we'll get more than that 50 million quid for a 30-year-old, which is in decline. But talking about Willian and that potential deal, he was saying I didn't receive anything yesterday. Asked the club about it. I've got no idea. Again, sticking to that head coach role. I don't want to lose him. He's very important. I think he can do better. The potential can be higher. He's important to us and it's impossible to lose him in January. Usually, he wants the ball at his feet, but he can improve his movement off the ball. And his goal scoring. Yeah, that's something else that he said. Look, let's be honest. Willian has been a fantastic servant for Chelsea Football Club. Anybody who says otherwise, to be honest, what was like, for example, some of the stuff I saw when he got injured against Southampton, with people cheering when he got an injury, it's bang out of order. Let's be honest. Willian has offered us some amazing memories. He has played some amazing games for us, and he has been absolutely insane. Take Barcelona last year, for example. All of us were singing his praises. However, it is clear, if you look at the statistics, he isn't really doing much better than he could be. I think a lot of football fans who aren't Chelsea fans are saying that we're mental for saying that we don't want Willian. However, I think it was evident, for example, in the game against Tottenham, there was no final ball, there was no end product, and I understand people bring up the statistics of he's made the most chances in the Europa League. He's an amazing player. Look, yeah, Willian was an amazing player, but right now, look, it's all well and good making these chances, but there's no primary statistics, there's no assists, and there's no goals. If you're playing on the wing rather than as a left midfielder, you kind of need to be getting those end products, whether it be goals or assists. Understandably, the assists part, granted, we haven't had a centre-forward from the ball in, and it was clear again with Callum Hudson-Odoi having the same issue against Tottenham Hotspur. We were lacking in the centre-forward department until Olivier Giroud came on, but at that point it was too late in the game. But Willian, for me, look, if you have a £50 million bid tabled by a team like Barcelona and they're offering a player which, let's be honest, if you look at who it is, you could have Malcolm, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi if he stays, and Eden Hazard as your four wingers at Chelsea Football Club. There's three young players there and one which can mentor them because he is, let's be honest, one of the best in the world in that position. Irrespective of what anybody says, for me, he's one of the best players in the Premier League, if not the best. On his day, obviously, it's between him and Kevin De Bruyne for me. But, at the same time, look, Willian, the end products aren't there. It's 50 million quid. We got offered 60 in the summer. We are insane not to accept it. It really comes down to that. Callum Hudson-Odoi is now saying he wants to leave because he's not getting the game time. And that is a big issue. Understandably, look, if I was in his position and a team like Bayern Munich came in, I'd think about it. Look, even if I had been at Chelsea since I was 8 years old, even if I am a Chelsea fan, which we know he is, it'd be tough for me to do it. But for me to further my career, I'd consider it. Obviously, English talent is coming in at the minute. It's in the niche. And, we've sort of seen Jadon Sancho, Reece Nelson, both go off to Hoffenheim and Dortmund and, really spread their wings and play excellently. And, if you're in Callum Hudson-Odoi's position and you're seeing that and you've got a team like Bayern coming, obviously two aging wingers, you've got Ian Robin, you've got Frank Ribery, and if they coming in and they're saying, we want you to come, we want to give you the number 10 shirt, we want you to start, and giving that opportunity to him, you'd think about it. I mean, I definitely would. And I think the same goes for him, and Chelsea are considering a £35 million bid. But for me, look, Callum Hudson-Odoi is the future of Chelsea Football Club. Give him whatever he wants. Obviously, if he wants the number 10 shirt, we can't do that. Eden Hazard's got that. And, he's kind of our best player. So you can't really piss him off. But at the same time, Callum Hudson-Odoi as a player, just give him what he wants. Seriously. Right now, he's better than Willian. Pedro, I don't understand why we haven't considered playing him down the middle. Obviously played there for Barcelona on several occasions. Did pretty well. Knows how a system works in terms of tippy-tappy football. And it's kind of a case of I'd consider playing him there at the minute without a centre-forward rather than Eden Hazard, who wants to play on the left-hand side, who wants to be more involved in the football, and have Callum Hudson-Odoi whipping the balls in from the right-hand side. Low crosses early or high crosses early to whoever's in the box. If there's height, Kovacic, whoever's there. That's the thing at the minute. It's a case of whoever is there. This is the biggest issue we have. But it's kind of a case of Callum Hudson-Odoi and Christensen are both said to be ready by Mauricio Sarri, but he doubts either of them will start. But so let's get straight into the 11. Let's have a look. I mean, this is the team that I think will go out based on the press conference as well today, obviously. Kepa in goal, being obviously the key one. And then you'll have Dave, Rudiger, David Luiz and Alonso as your back four, with Jorginho, Kante and Kovacic making up the midfield. Willian, Hazard and Alvaro Morata. This is all just based on the press conference, what he was talking about today. I think, that is probably the team he'll go with. Obviously, Morata will come into the side after recovering from his injury, maybe. It might even be Giroud. But I think it's safe to say that Eden Hazard is definitely starting, considering we're basically a one-man team at the minute, and any of you who say otherwise are nutty. Look, I think, for me personally, I would play Callum Hudson-Odoi, even if it was 70, 75 minutes, so he could play and we could get something out of him, because we do need some more productivity in the wing position in general. We just need some more productivity across the team, and if Morata's good at anything, it's heading. Linking up with Callum Hudson-Odoi like he did in the Nottingham Forest game. I know it was Nottingham Forest, but you can only play what's in front of you. The biggest thing for us at the minute, even if Sevilla are interested in Morata, they might not be anymore. Obviously, Munir potentially moving to them from Barcelona. They have agreed a fee, so that means the Morata deal could be off. But look, right now we are just desperate to get some movement and some quality in the side. We are in dire need of a centre forward. Obviously, he was talking about Higuain, in the press conference. He did say, look, I don't know, but I've mentioned what I'd like. They know my opinion, and I think we need two players, but it comes down to the club's choice. Obviously, other player being a replacement for Cesc Fabregas. But we'll get into that shortly. Obviously, he's left today on a 10 million deal to Monaco. But in terms of Morata, look, I have been very, to be honest, whenever I think a player's done poorly, I am very vocal about it. And Morata is no exception. He has been poor for Chelsea. He's out. If I'm talking about those primary statistics, that thing where you need to get the ball in the back of the net, which is what we need to be doing because we are the lowest scoring team in the top six. He did well against Nottingham Forest, and it comes down to the age-old story, which I keep repeating myself on, which I have been since day one this season. He needs to build on it. Look, he clearly wasn't happy with Zola's comments, and he made that very clear in his celebration. I use that loosely because he didn't celebrate at all. So the biggest thing is if someone's moaning at him about his mentality, he needs to go and prove them wrong. And to do that, you need to be scoring goals. It is as simple as that. In terms of creativity, I want to talk a bit about Jorginho. Yes, I know what everybody thinks. I know everyone thinks I've got a massive agenda against him. But obviously I want every single player to succeed at Chelsea Football Club. But genuinely, right now, the guy holds a record for the most passes and no assists. So, put it this way. In the Tottenham game, wasn't very influential. For me, in the Crystal Palace game, even if people say he did one ball, it was an assist, Giroud scored. Giroud was offside. He didn't score. Yes, it was a great ball. However, it was the wrong one. And if you were good a passer as he is, people keep banging on about. If you take Cesc Fabregas for an example, you'd know how to time it. You'd know what to do. And obviously, Cesc Fabregas isn't a good example because he is, let's be honest, probably one of the best ever at passing a ball. But Jorginho, for me, this is how many he's made: 1,875 passes. To someone who was tweeting me post the Crystal Palace game after I said I didn't think he had a good game, they sent me a stat saying he's made 11 through balls. It doesn't state whether or not it's in the final third. If they're not in the final third, it doesn't actually mean anything. For example, in the Tottenham game, you had players running down the channels. And I understand Sarri ball is about short passes and recycling possession, but at the same time, when you're 1-0 down and it's ball retention, sometimes that isn't important. The biggest thing is to get yourselves back in the game. And it's all well and good if you want to recycle the ball. Do it when you're 1-0 up. Do it when you're 1-1, you can hold on and can maintain a result. Because there's no doubt, because one thing I thought Jorginho, and I know he's superb at, and we've seen he's superb at, is maintaining that ball possession and distributing closely, and just making sure that the team keep the ball. But the biggest thing is, for example, when you're looking up, you had, even if he was poor, you had Willian running down the channels. You had Callum Hudson-Odoi running down the channels, screaming for the ball, trying to switch it, trying to get the team moving. And it just wasn't working. Look, I understand that he may be there to influence Sarri ball. I understand he may be there to be the guy, the second manager on the pitch, as many people are saying. However, the manager is in the dugout. He's 20 yards away from his players. What is Jorginho's role in this team? Look, like I said, if he's there to implement Sarri ball, fair enough. If you want to give me hate in the comments, fair enough, do it. My Twitter handle is going to be down there. If you want to go and tweet me and at me and call me an obese twat or whatever you want, then do it. But for me right now, I look at this team, and right now he has to play. We don't have the squad depth. Fabregas has already gone. I'm obviously linked with Barella from Cagliari and Leandro Paredes from Zenit St. Petersburg. But for me, I really question what Jorginho's worth is in this team at the minute. Look, if he's here to maintain possession and keep the ball moving, do it, but do it later on in a game. He strikes me as that type of player. In terms of the Premier League, if you want to keep possession of the ball, you do it later on. If you're a possession-based team, fair enough. But at the same time, you need to be moving the ball forward. You need to be moving it quickly, and this is the issue. Granted, as well, we don't have the players around him. Barkley was poor as well, but Barkley has been poor for a few games. Kante is obviously getting into that role further up the pitch. Obviously, winning the ball higher up, but he was the focal point in our attack sometimes against Tottenham, and that is an issue. But Jorginho, for me, we need to get the players in. There's no doubt about it. Is Paredes world-class quality? No, in my opinion. I don't think he is. He's a young player, but he's got a questionable attitude. I don't think that he is as good as many people are making him out to be. He's an aggressive ball winner, but other than that, we've already got one of those. We've got the best one in the world in N'Golo Kante. Do we need another one? Well, is this guy going to be happy to sit on the bench? Oh, if we're going to spend 50 million on him? No, not really. He's going to want to start. Barella is probably closer to that Fabregas-esque replacement. He's very young, obviously. He can play a ball. However, we have to remember again that this is in Italy, and Italy naturally is much slower. That's my opinion anyway. If people say it's a myth, look, I understand why people might say that, but I just, you watch it, it's a lot more tactical. And it's a case of, it really makes me worry. And I'm not looking at this, and I've tried to look deeper than I normally do. I've tried to look at other positions and other players and do comparisons and try and see their statistics, not just the YouTube highlight reel, which is what a lot of people are sharing on Twitter about these players. Because let's be honest, YouTube highlight reels kind of show the positive side of them. I mean, if you look at Alvaro Morata, for example, I was gassed when he signed. Didn't look further into stats and realised that he'd only scored 8 goals in Italy 2 seasons prior. So it's kind of a case of, we have to take everything with a pinch of salt. Barella would be coming in as a replacement, as a player to develop at Chelsea. He is only 18 years old. So, I mean, it could mean anything. But, Jorginho, for me, I don't know. Right now he has to play. But maybe as a player, he could be that person who barks orders. Yes, he can do that. But at the same time, in some games, maintaining possession isn't everything. You need to be moving those balls a lot faster and looking down those channels, like we were looking at Callum Hudson-Odoi. I'm sat there, and so is half the crowd at Chelsea, screaming for him to play the ball down the right hand side. Yes, I may not understand Sarri ball, as people may be saying. Yes, all this stuff. I don't get it. I want it to develop. I want it to look good. Obviously, if I watched the Serie A last year, and it was amazing to watch. It was some lovely football, but at the same time, the aim of the game is to get the ball in the back of the net. That's what matters to me personally, and like I've always said, and I've said it since day one with this, that is what's important to the club. I look, for me, look, obviously I want him to succeed. Obviously I want Sarri to succeed at Chelsea. But the biggest issue is, if you look at how Chelsea deal with their transfers and how they deal with the club and how they, just everything. If you look at how they deal with managers, it is a revolving door policy. And I understand a lot of people are looking at this with rose-tinted glasses, in my opinion. A lot of people are, it's more hope than anything, saying it's going to change. Chelsea are going to give him time. They're going to let him develop. They're going to give him the players he needs. But right now, he's saying he wants to keep Callum Hudson-Odoi. We're entertaining a bid from Bayern Munich, and the only thing stopping us is the fact we want a buyback clause, and they don't want to insert it. You've got Barella, who obviously we're talking about, or Paredes. Apparently we agreed deals with both of them, but we're not sure if we're going to sign them. Alvaro Morata might be going out, and we might not bring in a striker. And obviously, you've got Higuain and you've got Wilson as the 2 players that are linked. Obviously, Marina isn't a big fan of Gonzalo Higuain. She stated that, she said he's a 31-year-old player, wants 140k a week, and he wants longer than a 2 or 3 year deal. And to be honest, personally, I'm with her on that one. Gonzalo Higuain, yes, he's a good goal scorer. He's done it at Real Madrid. He's done it at Juventus. AC Milan this year, not so much. Again, you could put it down to poor tactics or the poor players around him, but you've got Çalhanoğlu, who's probably one of the best dead ball specialists in the world. You've got Bonaventura, who's a fantastic playmaker and a great engine. You've also got Castellano, who they've signed from Villarreal, who was under the noses of all these other teams as well in the Premier League. And again, if you want to use the argument of, but Pep wanted Jorginho, Fred at Manchester United, for example. And to be honest, Jorginho, when I speak to Napoli fans, the biggest thing that they've said is he's not the best at those long passes and that creativity. Yet in the summer, we signed him as a regista. Anyone who says we didn't, you go look at the news reports. You go and look at what everyone else was saying on Twitter. We signed him as a regista, and he's not doing that. So the question is, these players that we're bringing in, do you need a tough tackler or do you need a creative box-to-box? Yes, we need players. There is no doubt about it. Yes, there's apparently a rebuild. But if Chelsea are serious about this rebuild, they need to offload Willian. Simple as that. You need to, if you're looking at these bids that we're getting, we are getting a cash plus player bid for a 30-year-old from a 21-year-old. Yes, people may argue, well, if he's not doing it at Barca, there's a reason for that. If you've got Dembele, Coutinho, Messi in front of you, you're not going to play. It is as simple as that. And to be honest, this is a guy with a lot of potential. Yes, it was Liga. Yes, it was Bordeaux. However, he has a lot of potential. If you look at who we're bringing as well, and Christian Pulisic and Callum Hudson-Odoi, listen, it's going to be a very interesting period for us. And if we do get those players, and Chelsea are serious about this rebuild, they do it and they move on. We have an ageing front line. Giroud, 30 plus. You've got Pedro, 30 plus. Willian, 30 plus. You've got Eden Hazard, 27, or just turned 27, obviously just hitting his prime, and potentially could be going out the door. There's a reason that Callum Hudson-Odoi we want him to stay at Chelsea, because he's a good player. He's 18 years old. Christian Pulisic, 20 years old. Fuck me, he's younger than me. And obviously you've got Malcolm, who would be 21 as well. It is a revival. That's what's important. Barella and Paredes are both very young players as well. Sorry, Barella and Paredes are very, very young players as well. This is something which Chelsea needs to consider. The biggest thing for me as well is Chelsea's lack of a director of football. You need someone who understands the market. You need someone who can literally just sit down with Mauricio Sarri and sit there and say, this is what we need to get. What do you want? Let's figure it out. This is a short list. Let's talk about it. Because the biggest issue we have, people say it's a lack of ambition at Chelsea. I don't think it's a lack of ambition. I just think it's the fact that we don't know, the people up the top don't know what they're doing. Marina Granovskaya, credit to her, where it's due. Yes, she can turn a profit. Fantastic. But, Chelsea need to be doing more than turning a profit. From a business sense, it's fantastic. From a football business sense, it's not good at all. Football is the priority. What happens on the pitch is the priority. And right now, we're at the same stage we were last season. The biggest issue last season, when people were saying we got less points at the same point this season than we did under Antonio Conte, that may be the case, but the biggest thing, well, the issue with Antonio Conte last season was the second half of the season. Let's see if we improve. The biggest thing here is improvement, and we need to improve. We brought in Jorginho to help improve the side. Listen, if he's implementing the play, so be it. It's fantastic. You've brought in other players to improve the side. You know, Ross Barkley was a new player at the beginning of the season. No, he's not as good as he was touted to be. Fair enough. Loftus-Cheek is a player that's come into the side from the Chelsea Academy. Has been fantastic. And it's a case of you've got Christensen as well in the same boat. Callum Hudson-Odoi in the same boat. We are improving. We are implementing youth. That is one step of improvement from Chelsea Football Club, because we never used to do that. You've got Christensen, Loftus-Cheek and Callum Hudson-Odoi all in the first team. That's 3 players. And that's a massive improvement from 0. So to be honest, for me, it's moving in a good direction that way. But in terms of the transfers, in terms of the business that we are doing, it needs to be better. We need to understand you can't get a world-class player for £32 million anymore. And if you do, fuck me, fair play, it's a snip. But right now, we really need to look at this. And the biggest thing is you need a director of football to maintain the football inside of that business. Let Marina deal with the business side. That's what she's good at. But in terms of the football, in my opinion, I don't think she's in the right situation. She's not in the right boat. And let's be honest, hindsight is a beautiful thing. And I think we do miss Michael Emenalo just a little bit, because he did find some gems. But yeah, look, listen, I'm going to go now. I'm excited for the game tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to be doing fan cams down at Stamford Bridge post-game. I hope you enjoyed this preview. It's a little bit more thought out. I want to do more of these on my personal channel, so let me know if you did enjoy it, and if you did, I'll do a little bit more. Obviously, I put my opinions out there a little bit more rather than the facts and stats, because I'm not a stat guy, mainly. That's not really my thing. I'm more interested in just having a chat about the football, and that's what I want to do. If you want the stats, you can head over to Nini. That's what he's good at. But listen, guys, make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. All social links down in the description: Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. Lawrence will be back with his review tomorrow, and yeah, see you later. Take care.